Hi. You're on a planet where electricity flows through wires, where wireless signals bounce around the globe, and where motors spin in pretty much everything you own. But how did we get here? Well, about a century and a half ago, there was this guy who basically said screw candles and decided to rewire the entire world. His name was Nikola Tesla, and honestly, without him, you'd probably still be reading this by candlelight. Fun fact, the device you're watching this on right now? Yeah, it exists because of Tesla. The electricity powering your house? Tesla. The wireless technology that lets you doom scroll through TikTok at 3 in the morning? Also Tesla. This man didn't just change the world. He basically built the foundation for everything we consider modern life. But here's the weird part. Most people know basically nothing about him. They might have heard his name slapped on an electric car company, or maybe they think he's that guy who got electrocuted by a kite. Spoiler alert, that was Benjamin Franklin. And no, Tesla was way cooler. Tesla was like that friend who shows up to a party with inventions that make everyone else's contributions look like they brought stale crackers. While other inventors were tinkering with tiny improvements, Tesla was out here designing entire systems that would power civilization for the next 100 years. And the craziest part? He did most of this stuff in his head, without even building prototypes first. You see, Tesla had this thing called an eidetic memory, which is just a fancy way of saying his brain was basically a supercomputer. He could visualize incredibly complex machines in his mind, run them for weeks, and then check them for wear and tear, all without touching a single tool. It's like having a perfect simulation running in your head 24/7. If you think that sounds like magic, well, you're not wrong. But Tesla's story isn't just about being a genius, it's about being a genius who got absolutely screwed over by pretty much everyone he worked with. This is a guy who gave us the modern world and died broken alone in a hotel room. So yeah, this isn't exactly a feel-good story, but it's definitely one worth telling. But let's start at the beginning. Tesla was born in 1856 in what's now Croatia, during a massive lightning storm. And no, I'm not making that up for dramatic effect. The midwife apparently took this as a bad omen and said he'd be a child of darkness. His mother, being way cooler than the midwife, replied that he'd be a child of light instead. Turns out Mom was right, because Tesla would literally spend his life illuminating the world. Growing up, Tesla was that kid who took apart clocks just to see how they worked. But unlike most kids who do that and end up with a pile of broken clock parts, Tesla could actually put them back together and make them work better. He was obsessed with understanding how things function, which is probably why he later became obsessed with understanding how the entire universe functioned. His father wanted him to become a priest, because apparently in the 1800s, if your kid was smart, you either made them a priest or a doctor. Tesla had other plans. He wanted to study engineering, and after some family drama that involved him getting seriously ill until his father agreed to let him pursue his dreams, he finally got his way. Tesla studied at the Austrian Polytechnic, where he quickly became known for two things: being absolutely brilliant and being completely obsessed with his work. He would study from 3 in the morning until 11 at night every single day, including weekends. His professors were worried he was going to work himself to death, which, to be fair, he kinda did eventually. But here's where things get interesting. During his second year, Tesla had a massive falling out with one of his professors over something called direct current motors. His professor basically told him his ideas were impossible and stupid. Tesla, being Tesla, decided to prove him wrong by inventing something that would revolutionize the entire world. No big deal, right? This is where we need to talk about the war that shaped the modern world. Not a war with guns and soldiers, but the war of the currents. On one side, you had Thomas Edison and his direct current system. On the other side, you had Tesla and his alternating current system. And honestly, this battle was way more intense than most actual wars. Edison's direct current was like that friend who's reliable but kinda limited. It worked fine for short distances, but if you wanted to send electricity more than a mile, it just gave up. Plus, you needed a power station every few blocks, which was expensive and inefficient. It was like trying to power a city with a bunch of really expensive flashlights. Tesla's alternating current was the complete opposite. It could travel long distances without losing power, it was way more efficient, and it could be easily transformed to different voltages. Basically, AC was the system that made it possible to have one power plant serve an entire city instead of needing hundreds of tiny ones scattered everywhere. But here's the problem. Edison had already invested everything in DC power, and he wasn't about to let some foreign guy with crazy hair destroy his business empire. So he did what any reasonable 19th century inventor would do. He launched a massive propaganda campaign to convince everyone that AC power was deadly. Edison literally went around the country electrocuting animals with AC power to show how dangerous it was. He killed dogs, cats, horses, and even an elephant named Topsy. Yes, a literal elephant. He also helped develop the electric chair specifically to use AC current, hoping people would associate Tesla's system with death and execution. Meanwhile, Tesla was over here just trying to make the world a better place with more efficient electricity. It's like being in a science fair where one kid presents a cure for cancer and the other kid responds by setting things on fire and claiming the cure is dangerous. The really crazy part is that Edison knew Tesla was right. Deep down, he understood that AC was the superior system. But admitting that would mean admitting that his entire business model was obsolete. So instead of adapting, he doubled down on the attacks. Tesla, meanwhile, was working for Edison at the time, which made the whole situation even more awkward. Edison had hired him to improve his DC generators, and Tesla, being Tesla, figured out how to make them way more efficient. Edison promised him $50,000 for the improvements, which was like promising someone $1 million today. Tesla delivered exactly what Edison asked for, making the generators significantly better. But when Tesla went to collect his payment, Edison basically laughed and said it was just a joke. "Tesla," he said, "you don't understand our American humor." Yeah, hilarious joke, Edison. Really peak comedy there. This is the moment that changed everything. Tesla quit on the spot and decided to develop his AC system independently. If Edison had just paid him what he promised, Tesla might have stayed and helped perfect the DC system instead. But Edison's greed and dishonesty basically guaranteed that AC would become his biggest competitor. What happened next was Tesla teaming up with George Westinghouse, a businessman who actually recognized genius when he saw it. Westinghouse bought Tesla's AC Variatic patents for a massive sum and gave him the resources to develop the system properly. This partnership would eventually win the war of the currents and literally power the modern world. But Tesla was just getting started. The AC motor was impressive, sure, but it was basically just the warm-up act. What came next would be even more revolutionary, more controversial, and more ahead of its time than anyone could have imagined. Tesla wasn't content with just winning the war of the currents. While other inventors were celebrating their one big breakthrough, Tesla was already 3 inventions ahead in his mind. He had this weird habit of solving problems that didn't even exist yet, which is probably why half the world thought he was completely insane. His next target was something that seemed impossible to everyone else: wireless power transmission. While the rest of the world was still figuring out how to get electricity through wires without everything catching fire, Tesla was wondering why we needed wires at all. It's like everyone else was perfecting the horse and buggy while Tesla was designing a rocket ship. The breakthrough came during one of his famous visualization sessions. Tesla would sit in his chair, close his eyes, and basically run entire experiments in his head. During one of these mental marathons, he figured out how to create what he called a rotating magnetic field. Sounds boring, right? Wrong. This discovery would become the foundation for pretty much every electric motor, generator, and transformer on the planet. But Tesla didn't just discover this principle, he weaponized it. He started building devices that could transmit electrical energy through the air without any physical connection. His laboratory in Colorado Springs became legendary for the absolutely terrifying experiments he conducted there. We're talking about artificial lightning bolts over 100 feet long, electrical discharges that could be seen from miles away, and enough electromagnetic chaos to knock out the entire town's power grid. The locals thought Tesla was either a wizard or completely unhinged. Probably both. He would show up to his lab wearing formal evening wear, conduct experiments that looked like something out of a horror movie, and then calmly take notes as if he was watering plants instead of creating miniature thunderstorms indoors. His most ambitious project was something called the Wardenclyffe Tower, which was basically his attempt to create a global wireless communication and power system. Think of it as Wi-Fi and wireless charging, except Tesla was building it in 1901 when most people were still impressed by the telephone. The tower was designed to transmit messages, telephone calls, and even electrical power to anywhere in the world, completely wirelessly. Tesla convinced financier J.P. Morgan to fund this project by promising him a revolutionary wireless communication system. But Tesla, being Tesla, had much bigger plans than he let on. He wasn't just building a wireless telegraph, he was trying to create a system that would make electrical wires completely obsolete. Imagine being able to power your house, your car, and every device you own just by existing near one of Tesla's towers. Unfortunately, Morgan figured out what Tesla was actually building and pulled the funding. Why? Because Morgan had invested heavily in copper mines and wire manufacturing. Tesla's wireless system would have made all of that worthless overnight. It's like investing in a candle company and then finding out someone's building a light bulb factory next door. This is where Tesla's story gets really tragic. He had the vision and the technical knowledge to create technologies that were 50 years ahead of their time, but he was terrible at the business side of invention. While Edison was mediocre at inventing, but brilliant at marketing and business, Tesla was the opposite. He could conceive incredible machines, but couldn't convince investors to fund them properly. The Wardenclyffe Tower was demolished in 1917, and with it died Tesla's dream of wireless global communication and power transmission. But here's the thing that'll blow your mind. Everything Tesla was trying to build back then exists today. Your smartphone uses wireless communication principles Tesla developed. Wireless charging uses magnetic field theories he pioneered. Even the internet is basically a more advanced version of his global communication system. Tesla didn't just predict the future, he tried to build it a century too early. He described devices that sound exactly like modern smartphones, satellite communication, and even something that sounds suspiciously like the internet. In interviews, he talked about a handheld device that would let you communicate with anyone in the world, access any information instantly, and even watch live events happening anywhere on the planet. But Tesla's wireless experiments led him down even stranger paths. He became obsessed with the idea that the Earth itself could be used as a conductor for electrical energy. He theorized that by understanding the planet's natural electrical properties, you could tap into unlimited free energy. This wasn't just wishful thinking. Tesla actually built devices that seemed to pull electrical energy out of thin air. His Colorado Springs notes describe experiments where he lit up light bulbs without any external power source, using only what he called radiant energy. Modern scientists still debate whether Tesla actually discovered a new form of energy, or if he was just really good at building extremely sensitive receivers for naturally occurring electromagnetic fields. What we do know is that Tesla's wireless experiments attracted attention from some very powerful people. The military was fascinated by his ability to create wireless-controlled devices. Tesla demonstrated remote-controlled boats and vehicles decades before anyone else even understood the principles involved. He called it teleautomation and predicted that entire wars would eventually be fought using unmanned machines controlled from a distance. Sound familiar? Tesla basically invented the concept of drones, guided missiles, and remote warfare in the early 1900s. The military implications were so significant that when Tesla died, the FBI immediately seized all of his research papers and classified them. Some of those documents are still classified today, more than 80 years later. But Tesla's most controversial claims involved what he called death rays and particle beam weapons. He claimed to have developed a device that could shoot concentrated beams of energy, capable of bringing down aircraft from hundreds of miles away. Most scientists dismissed this as the ravings of an aging inventor, but Tesla insisted he had built and tested such devices. Whether or not Tesla actually created functional death rays, his theoretical work on particle acceleration and high-energy physics was decades ahead of contemporary science. The principles he described wouldn't be fully understood by mainstream physics until the development of modern particle accelerators and laser technology. Tesla's later years were marked by increasingly bizarre behavior and grandiose claims. He developed an obsession with the number 3, refused to touch anything round, and claimed to be in communication with extraterrestrial beings. The press started treating him as a curiosity rather than a serious inventor, which probably contributed to his inability to secure funding for his more ambitious projects. But even his weirdest claims often had kernels of scientific truth buried within them. His ideas about using the Earth's ionosphere for communication were initially ridiculed, but later became the foundation for modern radio broadcasting. His theories about extracting energy from the atmosphere influenced research into atmospheric electricity that continues today. Tesla's obsession with wireless technology wasn't just about convenience, it was about fundamentally changing how civilization worked. While everyone else was thinking about making existing systems slightly better, Tesla was imagining a world where energy flowed as freely as air. He envisioned cities powered by invisible waves, vehicles that never needed fuel, and communication that happened instantly across any distance. The man literally tried to turn the entire planet into a giant electrical circuit. His experiments at Colorado Springs proved that the Earth could conduct electrical energy, and he calculated that with the right equipment, you could send power from one side of the world to the other through the ground itself. It sounds like science fiction, but Tesla's math was solid. Modern geophysicists have confirmed that his understanding of the Earth's electrical properties was remarkably accurate. But here's where Tesla's story gets really wild. He didn't just want to transmit power wirelessly, he wanted to tap into what he believed was unlimited natural energy. Tesla theorized that space itself was filled with energy that could be harvested and used. He built devices that seemed to capture electrical energy from nowhere, leading to rumors that he had discovered the secret to free energy. These claims attracted attention from inventors, scientists, and government officials around the world. Tesla received funding offers from multiple countries, each hoping to gain access to his energy research. The implications were staggering. Whoever controlled Tesla's technology could potentially make traditional power generation obsolete overnight. Unfortunately, Tesla's secretive nature and increasingly erratic behavior made it difficult for anyone to verify his claims. He would demonstrate devices that appeared to work, but he refused to explain exactly how they functioned. Tesla was paranoid that his ideas would be stolen, so he kept his most important discoveries locked away in his head rather than writing them down. This paranoia wasn't entirely unjustified. Tesla's patents were constantly being challenged, copied, and stolen by competitors who couldn't match his inventive genius, but were perfectly willing to profit from his work. Major corporations sent spies to his laboratory, and foreign governments attempted to recruit him with offers of unlimited funding and resources. Tesla's response was to become even more secretive and isolated. He moved from laboratory to laboratory, constantly worried that his research was being monitored. He developed elaborate codes for his notes and split his most important work across multiple hidden locations. By the time he died, Tesla had essentially taken his greatest discoveries to the grave. But the impact of Tesla's work extended far beyond just electrical engineering. His research into high-frequency currents led to breakthroughs in medical technology. Tesla discovered that certain electrical frequencies could be used to treat various health conditions, laying the groundwork for modern electrotherapy and medical devices that use electromagnetic fields. So there you have it. Tesla basically invented the modern world while everyone else was still trying to figure out how to keep candles from dripping wax on their desks. From the electricity flowing through your walls to the wireless signals bouncing around your phone, it all traces back to this one brilliant, slightly unhinged genius who saw the future and tried to build it with his bare hands. Sure, he died broke and talking to pigeons, but every time you flip a light switch or check your Wi-Fi, you're basically using Tesla's brain. Not bad for a guy most people have never heard of.